There are a lot of things in your car that you may think about replacing or staying on top of when it comes to maintenance, but one of the things people forget a lot is to change the fluids inside your car. So to talk about this morning, we have Brian Bowersock from the West Auto Group joining us.
Good morning.
Brian, a lot of different fluids inside your car, and people probably just don't even think about it, right?
Most of them they don't think about. We know to change our oil, and obviously we've had that battle, 3,000 miles, 5,000, 7,000, whatever it is, and we often talk about earlier, sometimes better. But all the other fluids and the detriment to the vehicle by not replacing them becomes really important over time.
Because if you forget about these, I mean, what kind of damage are we talking about? Like engine, transmission, expensive stuff?
Well, let's take transmission, for example. That very expensive stuff. The only service you can do for a transmission to extend its life is replace the fluid and filter if the filter is replaceable. By not doing that, you can cut the life of the transmission in half or in a third if you don't service it regularly.
And if that transmission goes, how much are we talking about to replace it?
Well, on some vehicles we can get up, you know, you go into exotics, BMWs things, you can get $8,000, $9,000.
So just by not replacing the fluid, you can be looking at an $8,000 or $9,000 bill.
Correct.
That seems like motivation enough to do it.
It does. And manufacturers tend to recommend later service intervals now these days to make the cost of owning a car cheaper look on paper. But we recommend to folks on regular cars 18 to 20,000 miles on transmission services. It's kind of like buying insurance. It really does extend the life of the transmission without question.
And what are some of the other fluids we need to be thinking about changing?
Power steering's one. Another expensive repair. Power steering fluid suspends contaminants. If you keep running that through the system, it can mess up seals on power steering racks. That's $1,200, $1,500 repair on some vehicles. Cooling systems, water pump leaks, because coolant has a lubricant in it to help with the seals and bearings and things like that in the water pump, and keep the hoses from breaking down because it becomes acidic. So not replacing it can cause damage to all those components.
And if you're unsure, you can always just go see Brian Bowersock and his friends at the West Auto Group.
Happy to help.
Thanks for being with us this morning.
Glad to be here as usual.
And